I'm Herrick Kimball, standing out here in my mini bed experimental garden. It is July 7th, 2025, and I'm going to show you a series of photographs and discuss what's going on here in the garden. Now, these photographs were taken 5 days ago on July 2nd, and I'm just now making an introduction and I'm going to put the video together. Let's get right into it. Here on the west side of my garden, I have a single espalier apple tree. It is, of course, best that trellis structures are positioned on the west and north sides of your garden so they don't shade the lower growing crops. This espalier is on a T-post trellis span, which I tell how to make in my Planet Whiz Bang idea book for gardeners. The tree has been there for a few years now, but it's never produced a single apple. You can see some prunings on the ground. The tree continually sends up little shoots that need to be pruned away. Here's another T-post trellis span. This one has pole beans running up the strings. The bottom of the strings are tied to a wire that runs from post to post. It's early in the growing season here. This month of July will bring a burst of growth to all the plantings in my garden, and this trellis will fill right up with leaves and beans. In the corner of my garden here, you can see that I have a small comfrey patch and the bluebird house. Comfrey has a tendency to spread, but it doesn't spread under the plastic, and mowed lawn on the other sides keeps it in check. I planted 13 mini beds to garlic, 13 garlic to a mini bed. Since this picture was taken, I've harvested all the garlic and it's hanging in bunches to dry down. I have 16 mini beds planted to 3 varieties of potato: Eva, Elba, and Gold Rush. Potatoes grow well in mini beds, but the problem is that there's not a lot of soil to hill up around the plants. Lacking sufficient soil cover, some of the potatoes will be exposed to sunlight and turn green. So this year, what I have done for the first time is hill the soil up as much as I can in the mini bed when the plants are young. Then I've covered the hills with 2 layers of newspaper, followed by 1 mil plastic mulch. The mini bed frame holds the plastic from blowing away. And on some of the beds, I put a tire sidewall over the plastic. This scheme should solve the green potato problem. Here we have broccoli. 4 plants to a mini bed works just fine. Here is one single mini bed planted to peas. I actually planted 4 beds in the spring, but the germination was so terrible that I ended up transplanting everything into this one bed. Since this picture was taken, we've picked some peas and we'll get a couple more pickings for a couple more meals. I plan to plant numerous beds to peas for a fall crop. Hopefully the germination will be much better. I planted 5 mini beds to peppers, 4 plants per bed. Each is a different variety. These pepper plants will fill the beds and be very productive. That has always been our experience. And I always push 2 or 3 matchsticks into the soil around each pepper when I plant them. Does anyone else do this? Here's my Zephyr summer squash, a favorite for many years. 1 plant to a bed, plenty of root space and sequestered subsoil moisture under the surrounding plastic for the plant to draw from. I'll keep the old leaves pruned away as this plant grows, and it will produce squashes all summer long. The tomato plants are on their way to filling up their cages. 1 plant to a mini bed. This picture shows that I'm watering and fertilizing my tomato plants. I do almost no watering of my mini bed garden, but if there's a long dry stretch, I get out my irrigation buckets and give each tomato plant a full pail deep watering. This is the liquid fertilizer that I'm adding to the water. I'll fertigate with the buckets once a week as long as the dry spell lasts. I never grew celery until I had a mini bed garden, and I always grow 1 bed. 4 plants is ideal. I always thought it was hard to grow celery, but it's not. I never irrigate the celery beds, and they always provide some nice celery, which we use primarily when canning tomatoes. I have 14 mini beds planted to onions with various spacings in the beds. They are storage onions, white and red. The white onions have a much more upright growth to them than do the red onions, which tend to be kind of floppy looking. Right here, I want you to notice the little grass-like weeds in the onions. Those are crabgrass fledglings. If not picked, they will grow into monster weeds like this. Gardening 101. Little weeds turn into big weeds. Take care of them when they're young and easy to deal with. This is one of 4 honeyberry bushes that I planted 2 years ago. They are mulched with dried weeds that I pulled out of the other mini beds. Here's a disappointment. My lavender mini bed was damaged by the winter. Some of it is still good, but I'll probably clear this bed out and plant it to a cover crop before the end of the year. Here's a bed of lettuce, ready for the picking. Here are 2 cucumber plants in a mini bed. I think 4 plants is the ideal number for one mini bed. Here are bush beans. Odd as it sounds, 4 bush beans to a mini bed may be the best spacing. I planted only 4 for the first time last year, and those plants were astonishingly productive. This is a beet mini bed. I have a few mini beds that you can see here planted to oats. They were hammer planted with the 13 spot spacing. I used some saved seed from an oat bed I let go to seed a couple of years ago. I've planted 6 mini beds to strawberries, 4 plants per bed. All runners are getting trimmed off. This will give me strawberries of the largest and finest quality next year. That term, strawberries of the largest and finest quality, comes from E.P. Rowe, the famous berry man of the 1800s, and the concept of cutting all the runners off of new plants to get strawberries of the largest and finest quality the following year is something that he did and that I learned from his book. I've done this in the past and it works. And those strawberries are Brunswick. You'll notice the mini bed frames are all charred for what I hope will be longer life. 8 years is the average lifespan of an untreated pine 2x4 frame. Here are 4 mini beds planted to honeyberry winter squash. This is horseradish. I planted 2 root pieces last fall. Here's a mistake. This row of summer-bearing raspberries, bush planted around a center stake, have been satisfyingly productive, but the plants send out underground shoots into adjoining mini beds. That's counterproductive and annoying, and at some point I will remove all of these raspberry plants. Beyond the mini bed garden, I have elderberry bushes that I will also be removing one of these days. They have grown better than I ever anticipated. Here you can see some elderberry flowers, and here are the developing berries. On the corner of my property, I have another comfrey patch with a chestnut tree, which is looking very good. On my property line, I have a row of trellised Concord grapes. They are in need of a summer pruning to remove excess vines. You can see little grape clusters forming here. They have a long way to go before harvest. That right there is my asparagus bed. It's on the east side of my garden. Not an ideal placement because it shades some of the mini beds. My compost bin is back in place this year. Being close to the garden is the ideal location. This bird has a nest in my elderberry bushes. Can anyone identify it? Here's a new old cultivating tool that I picked up at an estate sale. The longer handle makes it more convenient to use than a short-handled cultivator. I grow the vegetables in our family economy, and my wife grows the flowers. This is her pond by the entrance door of our house. Well, that's it for today. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.